What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you? April 23rd, 9:29 p.m. last year, my wife and I were in the kitchen cooking. Just another normal night until everything changed. In the distance, we hear screaming, shouts. We're not sure what it is. Then, out of nowhere, the shouting rose. It got more aggressive. There were commands. There was just no identification, just screaming. So we're sitting there in our kitchen, wondering what is going on. We freeze, but then we see it. The door begins to crack because we frequent the garage for food. The door cracking, the blinds, there's lights coming through the blinds, tactical lights, shadows, and then we hear, "We coming in, so you better tell us where you at." That's exactly what it sounded like, over and over again. We run to our spot that we had trained for. God forbid this had ever happened, but it was happening, and it was real, and there was no time, only decisions to make. There were no police identification, no badge, no sirens, just boots yelling and shadows moving inside our house. It felt like a full-blown tactical raid. But by who? Was this a robbery? Some kind of sophisticated cartel hit, a setup? We were like, what is going on? Monica and I locked the door to our spot. I grabbed my firearm. If they breach, I have no choice. I must act. Terrified, we're calculating. They're coming, multiple men, tactical gear, no visible badges, and then I see him outside my window. After 3 times they approached our locked door and threatened to breach, still with zero identification. And in the 3rd time, I embraced my fate and decided to give the absolute hell, give them hell to protect my wife, despite being outnumbered and death was absolutely certain as my house is surrounded by sophisticated breach. I breathe deeply. Once again, see the lookout man out the front window, and that is the only thing that stopped me from pulling the trigger through the wall. They're coordinated. It's an operation, but who are they? We were alone. No cops were coming. They had walked away from the door. No help. If I make the wrong move, we die. So I smash the front window, belly crawl out, and sprint to the street. I stop a police car and get them to come out. Help! My house is being invaded. But I said it quietly because I still had to get back to my wife, who's terrified. POV, a police officer is drawing her gun and aiming towards the house, going towards the house. Slow motion, her eyes widen and then lowers her weapon. Wait, I think those are cops inside your house. I'm shocked. It takes me a second to process it. My adrenaline's dumping. No way. No way those are cops. That's impossible. No sirens, no protocol, just aggression and fear. You know, this is all too common. But they were cops. And I was seconds away from pulling the trigger on them. And them on me. Why didn't they identify themselves? Why was this handled so recklessly? What happens when training fails? What happens when innocent lives are seconds away from tragedy? This really needs to change. We've got to do better. We need better training. This is a true story. I lived through this, and it could have ended tragically for everyone involved. But it doesn't have to be this way. Law enforcement is a noble profession, but inadequate training can cost lives. Better communication, better training, better outcomes. If you're pursuing a career in law enforcement, criminal justice, public administration, criminology, or forensic science, join the movement to improve training and awareness.